I'm the Juggernaut, bitch!
We are the future, Charles, not them.
I'm kidding.
We're the X-Men, dated metaphor for racism in the 60s.
What's a Magneto? A very powerful mutant.
Hello everyone and welcome back to Enter the X-Verse. This week we are looking at the 2006 classic finale to the trilogy, X-Men The Last Stand. I am Nathan, and of course I am joined by my wonderful co-host, the delight of your life.
Of course, I'm Kyle. I am a delight to everyone's life. I appreciate that. I also appreciate your world where every single movie we talk about is a classic.
These all are classics. Did you forget any of these?
Well, I mean, this
I'm
movie's
not going to
memorable.
get to Deadpool and Wolverine and go the classic. You know, this film's almost 20 years old, Kyle. I'd say this is a classic at this point.
Okay. I feel like calling something a classic implies some sort of, stature, some grandiose to it,
And this is the end of the trilogy.
Yeah, it is. That's true.
Sometimes I call it a classic in a tongue-in-cheek form. Sometimes I call it classic sincerely. I think this is sincere.
Okay.
Like when I call fucking Birds of Prey a classic, my tongue is so far in my cheek I can't talk.
Must you always insult the best movie in the DCEU, Birds of Prey? Must you?
Well, more so what I mean when I say that, yes, one could imply a jab at the quality of it, but really I mean it's far too recent to really be a classic.
Uh-huh.
But this totally should, in my mind, get the moniker of classic.
Okay, fine. Are you revealing your thoughts on the movie right here?
Oh God, no. God. There are thoughts for this film, Kyle, and I haven't revealed them yet.
Okay. So Nathan, how did you first come to this movie?
Well, you're doing my bit. What? Well,
Mixing it up.
Kyle, I watched it for this show. I've never seen it before.
Is that true?
No, of course not, Kyle. Of course not.
You're doing my bit.
I'm doing your bit. Yeah,
very good. It's very clever.
Yeah, you want to turn it around on me, motherfucker? I'll turn it around you. So, X-Men this was the ultimate X-Men movie you watched then recreated in the playground, I think. This feels the most like action figures, I think. Everyone feels like an action doll in this movie. I feel like people feel less of characters.
There is a lot of sort of CGI jumping around on wires and stuff. I'll give you that.
Yeah, absolutely. Everyone's got their comic book looks on the whole time. Magneto doesn't have neat costume changes. He's wearing that helmet the whole time.
Mm-hmm. No, okay, I can see where you're coming from.
Yeah, the Juggernaut, I think everyone's kind of here. The only one that's not really here is Cyclops.
Yeah, poor guy.
Poor guy. Poor Cyclops.
To be fair, Nightcrawler got the axe at some point as well. I assume, I forgot his name already. But he didn't want to come back. Alan Cummings, he didn't want to come back and sit in the makeup chair for 6 hours again, is what happened there.
Yes, they got Kelsey Grammer to do it instead.
Yeah.
Good for Kelsey Grammer.
We can't have 2 blue people. We do have 2 blue. We can't have 3 blue people.
We have a number of blue individuals in this film, Kyle.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to talk about blue as an emotional state, everyone's blue. This is a sad film, Kyle, isn't it?
I guess Iceman counts as a blue guy as well, doesn't he?
I thought he was the second blue person you're talking
No,
about.
I'm thinking of Magneto or Mystique.
Mystique and Beast and Iceman, yeah. So, what do you think of this film, Kyle? How did you first come to this movie? Let me do my bit.
I actually don't remember how I first came to this. I've definitely seen it before. We did have it on DVD as a kid. I don't think it was in the rotation, though. I don't think... X-Men 1 and 2 were. I don't think The Last Stand was in the rotation.
Really?
But I definitely have seen it before.
I feel this movie being the most kid-friendly.
I don't know about that.
Really? Do you not think so? Like I said, everyone feels like they're all action figures. Like, everyone's just a little bit dumber. I don't know, this film feels very accessible.
All of the Jean Grey stuff does verge on, horror movie-esque, though.
Kids love horror movies, though. I'm the horror guy, Kyle.
For whatever reason, this movie, I'm less familiar with it than the first 2. And this movie obviously has a reputation as being bad. I don't think it's definitely not the worst movie we've watched so far. Not by a long shot.
Do you think it's the worst X-Men movie we've watched so far?
Yes, I think unequivocally it's worse than X-Men 1 and 2 for sure. But
absolutely.
it's not a terrible movie. There's some really good stuff still in here. All of the casting is still good. There's some cool action moments in it. It's not terrible. It's just a less focused movie, I think, is the main problem with it.
I think my problem is that it's two different movies.
Yes.
They have got two different scripts, and they've just like maybe through anxiety for not making a fourth film because people like trilogies. Like, we'll just put them both in here, you know?
Yeah, you've got all of the Cure stuff, which feels very separate, and then you've got all of the Jean Grey Phoenix stuff, and these two don't really mix well together.
I see the Cure story feels like a natural progression from the second film, but the Jean Grey stuff for the character stories with Scott feels more of a continuation from X2 because they actually go back to like Alkaline Lake and stuff like that. But the way that the Dark Phoenix plot goes, it's just like, this is nothing. This is silly.
It's not thematically tied, is what you're saying.
Yes, there we go.
No, I agree, because the first two movies are very heavy on this humanity versus mutants. That's the big thing of the first two movies.
Yep.
And the Cure is the natural progression of that point of, okay, we've got this new thing where people don't have to be mutants anymore. How does that affect the situation? What's the moral position to take here?
It's a good Star Trek episode, isn't it?
It's a good Star Trek episode, and then also Jean Grey is becoming the Antichrist.
Yeah.
And that's just also happening.
And that's a good Star Trek Discovery episode.
I mean, you can tell because Captain Picard blows up.
Yeah. Sheer fucking hubris, Kyle. He smiles at the camera awkwardly whilst his chops are getting flailed around.
Yeah, it's weird.
Oh, yeah, we'll get there. The film opens, Kyle, with a flashback, doesn't it?
It does open with a flashback. Magneto is there for some reason, but Charles is going to recruit Jean Grey for his school.
This is back in the day where Charles and Magneto kind of got on. I think we've always seen in these movies as like friends that have clearly had to part ways at some point.
Mm-hmm.
And this is prior to them having to part ways.
Yeah, it was Magneto heavily involved in the creation of the school, though?
I mean, as we will probably end up discussing by the time we reach the First Class movies, the continuity of this is very ropey.
Oh, yeah, I know. I just mean within the context of these three movies. Which, even these three movies, they start retconning things from the previous movie, so...
I could believe that he was involved with some sort of early foundation of the school. Yeah.
I guess they do say that he helped build Cerebral, so... Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, there you go. Right, it all works, we're fine. Continuity intact.
Yeah, but they do have strange early CGI de-aging faces.
So I think when they're outside the house, they look fine. I actually don't think they look that bad. I'll genuinely, something about maybe the harsh outside lighting is a little bit, blasting, and it's just quite forgiving. I think that when they go inside, and it's supposed to be a much more dimmer environment, and you can see a lot more of the details because it's less harshly lit on them, that's where they start to look like it's creepypastas, like AI art.
Yeah, I do like this scene though, where Jean Grey demonstrates her power by lifting all the cars outside.
Yeah,
that's a cool shot.
We get Stan Lee out the way.
Yeah, we get our Stanley in early. He's watering his grass.
Yeah, and then water starts lifting up, and Stanley does the best acting ever of going, "Whoa, look at the grass, look at the water."
Uh-huh.
Love it. Good to see Stan again.
Yeah, I will say there's a jarring edit here where it cuts from this flashback to another flashback, and the subtitle comes up 10 years before, like 10 years ago, which it's not. It's 10 years ago from the current present day in the movie, not 10 years ago from this flashback.
When you describe it, I could go, oh yeah, that could be a jarring edit. Watching it now, and I think watching it every other time since, I've never been confused by it.
No, it's just a kind of sloppy edit, that's all.
Yeah. But again, I don't think something people would trip up on.
But it is cutting to another good scene, which is the introduction of Angel.
Horrific.
Well, it's a horrific scene, sure, but it's a good scene. It's a very X-Men scene.
Yeah, What's his name? Archangel or something?
Archangel is his name when he becomes a villain. He's normally just Angel.
All right, okay. I see. These are the things.
Yeah, and he's the son of a rich racist.
Of a rich pharmaceutical tycoon man who's funding the eventual coming about of a cure. And it's shot really well with like all the DIY hardware store equipment and like toolboxes and like blood in the sink. But you never really see any gore. You just sort of see feathers over the back of like shoulder blades. Mm-hmm. Yeah, just like blooded handkerchiefs and stuff. And like Dad's like, you've been in there for ages, and the kids really try. Very, very visceral actually. Despite not showing much, it's shot in such a way that you think you're seeing more than you're actually seeing.
It kind of sets up Angel to be a more important character than he actually is in the movie.
Yeah, he's just like a framing device for what's at stake.
Yeah. And he has like the arc, I guess, of saving his dad at the end, but that's not really an arc.
That's not an arc. That's
just a thing that happens.
Yeah, that's just something that occurs. Like maybe it's for it's really an arc for his dad, really.
I guess, yeah.
It's not even an arc for his dad. I would never say that it's really a good story for him, but it's like, oh, this thing you've hated all your life. Look at the dramatic irony that now it's being used to save your life.
Yeah. I did watch the Caravan of Garbage on this movie after watching, and James has a great point in that where he talks about how weird it is to think your son's this horrible, hideous, deformed mutant when he looks like a Victorian painting of an angel.
Yeah. He does look like a bibulate, inaccurate angel, doesn't he?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that I like the idea of these big wings, right? Mm-hmm. I ultimately think he looks like a sissy.
I think when he's flying about, there's such a something about it that looks a bit weird.
It just looks a little bit much. It looks like he's got them strapped to his back.
Yeah, they never feel like a real part of him. Really?
No. They're weirdly integrated. Everything just very disjointed. Mm-hmm. It's different from like Hawkman or something in Black Adam, where it's like part of the outfit. This just looks like they've been in After Effects, just popped onto his back. Yeah,
which I guess is probably why he's not a big part of the movie at the end of the day.
They were like, we can't make this work. Cut him.
This movie has a very strange economy of characters. I think that's the right phrase.
Okay, go for it.
The characters it decides to put focus on and not. Because in this movie, we've got a few new entries onto the main X-Men team. Bobby, Iceman, he's on the main X-Men team now.
He's been promoted from last time.
So is Kitty Pryde, who's been promoted from a background extra to a main player on the team for some reason.
Absolutely, yeah, a big step up. I think because we got named talent.
Maybe. And also, Colossus is on the team now, despite not really having a character at all.
Yeah, he was in the last one, wasn't he?
He was in the last one, but he also didn't do much in that movie either.
Yeah, well, this is them sort of... I tell you what, this is what I'm talking about, action figures, Kyle. This is the film to sell toys.
It really is, yeah.
So you got the one with the X-Men suit, and she's got a pink stripe on the outfit. You've got Colossus, and he's more part of them. He's for Happy Meals, Kyle. This is for Happy Meals.
He carries a TV that one time, and that's the only memorable thing he does in the movie.
It's a funny visual gag, along with the visual gag of Bobby going into the room, and Rogue's done a runner, and it's not like she's just packed up some of her precious belongings and left. She's taken her bed sheet, she's taken the post, taken her cushions. It looks like the default stock of a room in like Unity Engine video game.
Yeah.
Like, she didn't take that much stuff with her when Logan was speaking to her in the hallway. Like, it's really funny.
No, she just had a backpack. Yeah.
Yeah, he's got a backpack.
Maybe the rooms in the X-Mansion just have no character to them whatsoever, you know?
Just grey
Also,
shells.
I was thinking about this too. Does every student get their own separate bedroom? I would have thought this would be a dorm situation.
I assume there's dormitories, but the older ones, you know, the main characters, they get their own room. Why? Just because.
It's like Star Trek. When they get promoted enough, they get qualified for their own room.
Yeah, senior staff and all that. Yeah, because the junior officers have bunks. It's the lower decks. The kids are the lower decks.
And they have a holodeck. It all makes sense.
Yeah, exactly. There we go, Kale. This is the Federation Starship X-Mansion. So yeah, that takes us to the Danger Room.
Mm-hmm. Is that what it's called? The Danger Room?
Yeah, Danger Room. Mm-hmm.
I guess that sounds very comic-y.
So I have a question, Kyle.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So we see in this sequence here that, because obviously we don't know it's simulation at first, Wolverine comes in and saves the day, but he's got body damage to him because that's the introduction of his face meshed up and it like recovering, regenerating.
Yes.
But that proves that the things in this danger room are real and they will hurt you.
yeah,
It's for the
like,
fake
like a
out of the
holodeck,
simulation.
yeah.
Like
It's
a holodeck
hard,
with
like...
with the safety simulations turned off, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there is a point in this simulation mere moments later where a missile comes down near Bobby and he freezes one of them, then the other one goes right through them because Kitty Pryde touches him and that makes them transparent, right?
Yeah.
Or not transparent, but, you know, everything passes through them.
There's a word. I can't remember what the word is
Yes.
right now. Whatever.
If that
It's trans
missile
something.
if that missile had hit Bobby, would he be blown to smithereens?
I kind of... Okay, well...
Is this a live fire simulation?
Yeah, I was going to say maybe it would just sort of bonk him, but if it's doing, like, actual structural damage to Wolverine, there must be some kind of force to it.
Oh, there's damage coming up. Maybe, like, the safety protocols are only disabled when they hit Wolverine because he's a masochist, maybe?
Maybe they're specifically tailored to the powers of each person.
But that would be a really bad simulation, though, because everyone would be like, these are all fine, yeah. No,
Yeah.
surely not. They just
Well,
haven't thought it through. It's for the fake out.
Yeah, I always find it weird that, okay, Rogue is in this simulation as well, because there's a part where Cyclops covers her with his powers.
Yeah, and
And
she
turns-
becomes a metal lady.
Yeah, but realistically, why is Rogue on the team? She's just a person who can touch people. Did they give her combat training? It doesn't seem like they did.
No, it doesn't seem like they did either. I can imagine very specific use cases, but that's like in an army where you have like a piece of anti-aircraft kit. You only bring it out when you need that utility. But
Yeah, if you're
obviously-
going to fight mutants, then bring Rogue, sure. But if you're
Yeah.
fighting random big robots, maybe don't bring Rogue on this mission.
yeah, what's she gonna do? Steal the Sentinels? Like, what?
Yeah.
You know?
Oh,
like-
there's a Sentinel in this scene.
yeah, there's a Sentinel. That's the thing. They're fighting in the dust.
Yeah.
You
Does
only
that
see
make
the
any
head of it.
sense? I don't think so.
I tell you what, they're probably. No, we do get more comic book accurate Sentinels in the future, kind of. But this was like because they weren't going to do the Sentinel story. I don't think when they made this movie, it's
They're
kind
just
of
like,
nice.
screw it. Yeah.
It's an Easter egg, you know. It's whatever.
It's like when the Infinity Gauntlet shows up in Thor 1.
yeah, like it's an Easter egg. It's just a thing,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because all these things aren't as planned out as people think that they are. But in speaking with our time at X Mansion, the only reason Logan's there is because Charles has asked him to cover for Scott, who's lost in grief, isn't he?
He's quite upset that his wife died, and he should just get over it, for goodness sake.
He should fucking put on his shoes, pull up his britches, Kyle, and get back to work. I do understand Xavier speaking to Storm about how he would like her to take over the school because it may not be Scott's fault that he's a wrecked man, but a wrecked man he is nonetheless, and that means that he would no longer be fit to take over.
I'll be honest, I don't think he would have been fit to take over to begin with.
I would know. No, neither would Dan.
I think Storm was always the obvious choice there.
I think Jean would have been, actually.
Jean probably would be, but if you can't get Jean, Storm's the next best one. Storm seems to be the most invested in actually teaching students.
Yes, Halle Berry's hair looks great in this film.
It does. Is this her best hair look? Definitely better than the first two movies.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's similar to how it was in X2, but there's just something that pops more here. There's more highlights in it.
Yeah. Although, but in the holodeck a bit, because Storm's whole deal in the holodeck is they're not working as a team, even though that's all they're doing the entire time is working as a team. And it's not a problem at all.
Not a problem whatsoever.
They're helping each other. Kitty Pryde is helping Bobby survive missiles.
Colossus is helping Rogue.
Colossus helping Rogue. Colossus throws Wolverine. That's a team move.
That's a
not
team
Logan
move.
going solo.
Yeah, he's literally being like, throw me, I Mrs. Incredible. Yeah. I wonder what would happen if Rogue were to touch Storm, but Storm were to be able to survive the kinetic damage. Would that be like doubling up onto electric shooters?
I don't know, because they've kind of changed how it works in this movie, because when Colossus touches her, Colossus keeps his powers.
Yeah, but also they keep the drama that she can't touch anyone, though Colossus can clearly touch her and be fine.
Yeah, I don't... They would prefer that you don't think about it.
Yeah, because this is also the scene where we get introduced some character drama about Rogue seeing Bobby.
Oh,
and
you
Kitty
wouldn't
together.
believe it. Well, because Jean's gone now, we need a new love triangle. So now we have Kitty Pryde and Rogue fighting over Bobby.
An icy Iceman, yeah. Oh, Kyle, it's that era, isn't it?
Nathan, have you ever enjoyed a love triangle in a story?
No, it's just needless tension.
No, I love romance. I do. I've talked about this before. I'm a sucker for a good romance, but I've never seen the appeal of love triangles. Never in my life.
It's for tension. It's for the who are they going to choose? Who's going to end up with who? It's like soap opera shit, you know?
But the thing with it in these movies is it's not even that, because it's always that one of them is already in a relationship. Bobby is already in a relationship with Rogue. This is
People
just an
like-
extra thing.
People like homewreckers, Kyle. People are cynical. They like watching awful things happen to good people.
Right, okay.
But yeah, so we leave the simulation room, and Scott's just doing a runner. He's not showing up to classes. He's away. He's going to the lake to. I don't
Well,
know.
he's getting sort of psychic knives from Jean Grey.
Jean. Yeah. And when he's away doing that, we meet our member of the American U.S. Cabinet for Mutant Affairs,
Yes.
Hank
I
McCoy.
think maybe the best character in the movie.
Yeah, you thought he was in the last one, didn't you?
I did. I thought he was in the first one. But it's weird too, because this movie establishes that he used to be a part of the X-Men,
Yep.
and he left at some point, even though we saw him on the news in the last movie, he was just a normal man.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep.
But we're just going to forget about that. That's been retconned.
We're not going to talk about that. There's a discussion in the First Class movies about the ability to suppress the power temporarily.
Sure, okay.
You know, like that's not what this Kelsey Grammer character is doing.
Kelsey Grammer is perfect casting, though. He
So
really
good.
is.
So good. I don't know how he was bothered to do all this makeup, but good for him. They brought him back for the Marvels, and he's just
They did
just in a
CGI, yeah.
He's in a voice booth now. Yeah. Good for
But
him.
yeah, no, he looks great too. The makeup is really good.
Holds up perfectly to today. Doesn't look weird or off-putting.
He's doing beast stuff. He's a big monster man, but he's dressing in suits. He's a very academic man.
Yeah, he's going to cabinet. Yeah, he's having
Mm-hmm.
meetings. I think there was a lot of him cut from this.
I think so too.
Because there seems to be like some tension between him and Wolverine that never really is introduced. So they meet and he's like, "Oh, you're the Wolverine," and then they have a little tuffle up after Xavier's funeral where he's like, "I've been doing a lot for mutant rights since before you were born, boy." And then Wolverine's like, "Did he call me boy?" And at the end of the film, he sees him on TV and he's been made a UN ambassador and he's like, "Good for you, Furball," or whatever. And I'm like, "What did they have? Did they have like an arc? Did they have a relationship? What?"
Yeah, it's not clear.
Not clear. Great to have him in the movie. Wish the movie done more with him.
And indeed, yes.
I think the movie could have done more with him if they cut the whole Jean Grey part of this film. That's really my issue, actually.
Yeah. I
Cut
think
all the
I
Jean
guess they
stuff.
felt like they had to do it because they teased it in the last movie.
You could leave it a film, put it on hold. Yeah, probably. Maybe it's like, they're like, "Oh, we need to do the Dark Phoenix because we teased it." And then they're like, "Oh, but we have this mutant story that's actually more interesting." Mm-hmm. They're like, "But we want to do our Dark Phoenix story," and they're like, "We don't care. We have this good. We have this actually good script. We have a good script here." But who knows who had more say over what? It's clearly two movies smashed together.
Yeah, because all of the stuff, I agree, all of the stuff with the Cure is so much more interesting. Seeing Magneto, he takes a hard line stance against the Cure, because obviously he would, that's perfectly in line with everything about his philosophy.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then the X-Men have to grapple with it, because obviously they don't like the phrasing of the word cure, but they also more believe
they're
that
pro-choice, Kyle. They're pro-choice.
pro-choice, yes. And there's interesting stuff going on with that, and that's such a much more interesting movie than all of the character who was good in the last movie is evil now because she's gone mad.
Because I think there is an interesting discussion for some of these people who are just living their life and are not being hindered by their mutations should be allowed to exist unimpeded. But if you have someone like Rogue, clearly a sufferer, not by... Does it mean society is bullying her? but there's things that she wants to do and cannot do because of the mutation. That isn't a limit of society. It's literally a limit of her powers are awful for her. So medication, maybe the word cure is the wrong phrase, but medication that allows her to be more integrated into society, it is for her, you know? And there's an interesting, that's what the X-Men are on the side of, having that option there for people whose mutation actually isn't.
Yes, but at the same time, Magneto's probably right, because they take that thing and put it in guns and start shooting it at mutants, and that's not a good sign for mutant rights.
Only as a defensive measure, you know? I think we spoke
For
about...
now!
For now, right. But that's the discussion. This is what makes this film...
That's the discussion, yes.
Possibly
that's the interesting part of the film.
Yeah, that's it. That's the discussion, because you could, you know, they had they wanted to do the Mutant Registration Act. Really, actually, should the government maybe be aware of some of the more high, powerful mutants out there? Should we maybe have a defense in the act that they actually decide to go on the offense with their powers? Also, not a bad idea. But that's
this is all basically the plot of the Winter Soldier.
Yeah, Civil War even. In this movie, half of her runtime is fucking dedicated to the Antichrist.
And you know what's crazy about that? There's never a single discussion in this movie on whether they should use the cure on Jean Grey. Which is, that's the obvious thing to do if you're combining these two plots, right? Is, well, she has this power she can't control, we should use the cure on her, but is that okay? Because it's against her consent.
Instead, they decide to do that on Magneto because he's just a threat that will never be stopped.
Yes.
And then they want the dramatic moment of Wolverine stabbing Jean, you know, having to kill her.
It's very end of Game of Thrones.
Very, very end of Game of Thrones, which is what they're going for.
Yes.
Well, before Game of Thrones, obviously, but they want the drama of using the cure unsolicited to someone who's evil. So they do it to Magneto. And then they want the love interest conclusion of Wolverine stopping Jean with his claws. Why he couldn't have been using the cure instead? Because it would have disintegrated in the Thanosing field that she's creating with her powers. That won't affect his trousers. Should have put it in his trouser pocket, you know?
Yeah, he's got adamantium trousers.
Yeah, he's having a great time. But yeah, so that's why he couldn't use the cure on her. It had to be the claws. So I can see all of the choices. Apart from the fact that they decided to smush two movies together, with that decision already made, I can see the creative decisions in that framework being made, and I go, right, okay, I get it. You want to use the cure, but you can't use it on Jean, use it on Magneto. But it's still just baffling that it really is. That's the hindrance to this movie. I'll keep coming back to it, putting these two things together.
I mean, there's other stuff that's kind of strange. Obviously, for the cure to be like a threat, you need a character to have it done to them against their will, and they choose Mystique.
Yep.
So they have a big action scene where Magneto, he flips a truck, as was the way in the 2000s.
Magneto does some of his best Magnetoing in this movie.
He does some good Magnetoing for sure.
He does. I quite enjoy the prison break sequence of.
Yeah, I find the sequence kind of odd though, because he does all of this to break out Mystique, because Mystique is his oldest ally basically. She supports him no matter what, and as soon as she gets the cure, he's like, "Oh, I don't want to play with you anymore," and just leaves. I would imagine that he would be more upset about that.
Well, so I think that what he says when he goes to that mutant town hall, I guess, with like, we need to get organised and sign petitions and, like grassroots political campaigning is what these mutants are doing. And he's going in and being like a corrupter to that.
He's an extremist, yeah.
Yeah, he's extreme. And it's all good stuff seeing these extremists infiltrate into like community grassroots fundraising and stuff, right? Mm-hmm. And he sees this lady that can run really fast and she can also sense mutant powers, because this movie introduces some pre-established mutant classification system like Jaegers and Pacific Rim.
Like, this is a thing in the comics, but it's never come up in the movie before.
No, it's never come up in the movies, like you two are a class 5 mutant and all that, which I quite enjoy, these classification things, quite interesting. But the movies have never done it, and this film's just like, this has always been a thing. So she can sense mutant powers, so that's how we track down Mystique. But Magneto says about her, she could be useful. I think Magneto fundamentally maybe have affection for these people. This version of Magneto sees them all as tools ultimately. And I can
buy that for almost everyone except for Mystique.
When we get to the First Class movies, it'll become even stranger because of the memes of, I want to see the real you.
The real you, yes.
But that's not in this. And I think that the most you will get is when he's walking away and he's lamenting it and he's like, she really was beautiful, you know?
That felt creepy, though. That felt like a creepy line.
I think it's in line with Michael Fassbender, you know?
I guess so.
I like, you would think that like that's supposed to speak to more to who he really is, because you would go, oh, you really? That's her? Like, her, it's Mystique. She has been cured to be human, and even you don't even care about her, the one that's done everything for you, a true acolyte of Magneto, the Brotherhood, and you don't care about her? You're really cold, Magneto. That's the point that the audience is supposed to feel there, you know?
I guess, but also they still want him to have emotion, because after Charles dies, he has a good scene with, I think it's Pyro.
Yep.
Where Pyro's like, oh, I would have killed Xavier if you asked me. He's like, no, you would never. I would never have asked you to do that. Charles was a legend.
He's done more for mutant rights than you could ever possibly imagine. Mm-hmm. Like, he was his only regret was that he had to die for her vision, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. I really like the emotion that he sincerely feels with Charles, because I think maybe where you think he has that relationship with Mystique, he does have that relationship with Charles, at least in this incarnation. Not romantic exactly, but deep fondness that maybe you think should exist with him and Magneto.
It's the Luther King Malcolm X thing.
Yeah, right. So I definitely see the criticism, but I think that in this movie that fondness goes to Xavier, it doesn't go to Mystique.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's also when we introduce some of the rest of his henchmen. He gets two different groups of henchmen together. He gets the ones from the grassroots movement, who are a bunch of like punks in leather jackets.
Yep. And
then he also gets the ones from the Supermax prison, one of which is also a thug in a leather jacket, a different type of thug, you know?
Well, can we talk about him for a minute?
Can we talk about Multiple Man?
Let's talk about Multiple Man. So up until as late as 2020, Kyle, he was supposed to be getting his own spin-off film in the Foxverse.
Why?
Starring James Franco.
Why?
This, because they made bloody New Mutants, Kyle. Near the end, they were just making stuff. They were going into DCEU territory fast, you know?
Right, okay. Was this like a James Franco passion project? He just really loves the character Multiple Man?
No more than Channing Tatum's Gambit movie, Kyle.
I don't know anything about Multiple Man. I assume, because I've never heard of him before this movie, he's just a guy. He's just a henchman of the Brotherhood, right?
I think there is more. He's like kind of like a niche character, you know?
Okay.
I think there is more to him, but this movie obviously doesn't do much with him. But he gets more than, oh, I can throw bones out of my wrist.
He doesn't even get to show up for the final fight. He serves as a diversion.
Yeah, and he was like, oh, sorry, ha 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 ha. Yeah.
Of course, the main henchman we pick up is the Juggernaut, bitch.
Yes, the show's intro audio man. Yeah.
Vinnie Jones. How do you feel about him?
I feel nothing actually, but I think that people will be disappointed to hear me say this, but I think a lot of people big up Juggernaut and go, he's iconic. He's just like British Cockney man running through walls. I don't care. I just don't. It's kind of funny seeing him run through all these walls behind Kitty Pryde, and then when they go into the room with the cure comes from a kid mutant, by the way, that seems to nullify all mutant powers. That's the MacGuffin. Mm-hmm. I enjoy it when he runs into that room and his powers stop working and he just bonks his head off the wall. That's funny. You know,
I'm going to disagree, Slate. I think Vinnie Jones kind of kills it in this movie. I think he's great in almost every scene he's in. I think the design is awful, obviously, but I think his performance is great.
I don't really know how Juggernaut's supposed to look. I've seen the Deadpool 2 version of him as
I'll be honest, I don't think there's any good design of Juggernaut, to be fair. But this one is especially silly.
Big helmet man runs at wall. Yeah. What are you going to do?
He just has so many iconic lines, like, I'm the wrong guy to play hard and psych with.
Yeah. It's a funny bit. I enjoy the bit in the Supermax prison actually just before we get to Juggernaut, where Mystique is like pretending to be the president in the cell, and the prison guard's like, "Oh, Mr. President, shut up!" She becomes a little girl, and he's like, "I will pepper spray you in the face, bitch." Oh, what wonderful little bits of this deadpan prison guard that's just not rising to any of Mystique's manipulations.
Mm-hmm. I am wondering why they keep some of these prisoners in like a locked glass cube, but Mystique they keep just behind a regular cage.
Maybe because she's a shapeshifter, you got to check that she's there.
Maybe. I mean, what are the limits of Mystique's powers? Can she turn 2D and flit through the bars?
Possible. I actually, that's one of those things they don't want you to think about, right?
No,
So
because
like,
I think we talked about that in the first movie when she pretended to have Wolverine's claws.
Yeah, because I was like, if she shapeshifts into like the size of a house, like a kaiju, like Godzilla, like she just break out through the truck. When she shapeshifts into a little girl, does her hands not slit through the wrist, the handcuffs? And I just assumed like the handcuffs must flex based on the size of the thing they're holding. You know, they're Superman.
They're shapeshifter proof handcuffs. Yeah.
Yeah, something like that, right?
Still unlocked with a regular key though.
Absolutely still not a regular key. Yeah, this is the government.
Because I guess she can't shapeshift her foot into the size of a key or something, you know?
No, not at all.
Anyway, that's just nerd nitpicking, that is.
That is the ultimate attitudes of nerds nitpicking shit, yeah.
Yeah, anyway, shall we get back to Scott and him blowing up on the side of a lake? I assume we don't see it, but I assume he blows up.
Yeah, he's atomized.
Poor guy. Poor, what's his face from Westworld and Sonic. Just never gets his dues in these movies.
Never gets his dues in these movies at all, does he? Oh, Hollywood hates him.
He looks good in this movie too. He's got the rough stubble, he's got his leather. They actually made him look kind of cool for this movie, but then he just blows up.
He plays really good tortured man. Mm-hmm. And he dies in the first act.
Yep. I believe this is actually because of like some sort of contractual obligation. I think he was signed on to do something else.
Oh, so they killed him off for other reasons? Interesting.
Yeah, I don't think it was a specific story choice. I think it was the I wish I knew his name right now. It's totally escaping me. James Marsden. James Marsden.
Yeah.
I can't remember what it was, but I believe he was signed on for another movie, and it was scheduling conflict, so they just killed him off early.
That's crazy. That's as much as it being less visually upsetting, that's arguably worse than Henry Cavill's Justice League mustache.
Yeah, because like they just killed off the character.
Yeah, 'cause at least you're not changing your story for it. Like you're actively rewriting your script or whatever script you had. I mean, how would Scott fit into the mutant rights story though? You know,
he would just be behind Storm, basically. I think.
Yeah. Probably, yeah, absolutely.
That's where he was last movie.
Yeah. God, Cyclops. They never. I'll spoil it for everyone now. They never know how to treat him in these movies.
Yeah, he's a guy with laser eyes. It doesn't seem that hard.
Yeah, I mean, I think after the Captain America code was cracked with Chris Evans, they'll know how to do it going forward. But right now, it's just there was nothing. He's like a bad Rick Flag.
You mean like Rick Flag in the first Suicide Squad movie?
How
is a bad
dare
Rick Flag.
you? Yeah. Why not? Where is Magneto's Doctor Doom looking metal lair, Kyle? In the woods?
I don't know why he's just hanging out in the woods in this movie.
They're big Planet of the Apes energy because it's San Francisco and they're going across the bridge. It's having just rewatched Planet of the Apes movies recently, the remake ones with James Franco in the first one, funnily enough. A lot of that's kind of the separation between the city of San Francisco where humans live and in the woods where the apes live, you know. And they meet on the bridge. Like a lot of this accidentally, I wouldn't imply any of it's intentional. A lot of this accidentally kind of mirrors Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, or Rise of the Planet of the Apes. It's
Are you saying mutants are apes, Nathan?
Yes, Kyle. Well, it's almost like there's an allegory in there somewhere because they become intelligent and they need to share the planet, Kyle.
Yeah, you're right. It is the same allegory.
Yeah. So it's almost like there's a mutation, Kyle, that's causing us to have to share the land.
Yeah.
Equal rights, Kyle. That's the story.
That is the story, but also Jean Grey is the Antichrist.
Oh yes, absolutely. I love the Christ-like allegories in this movie about rights. Was this like a 4-quadrant decision, Kyle? So like all the atheists will love this cure shit, but what about our Bible thumpers in the South, Kyle.
I
The
don't
box
think
office.
this appeals to the Bible thumpers. I don't think that's the target audience here.
No, do you not think so? You do not think so? Like, because they won't engage with the cure debate. You know, they won't talk. They'll hate it because it's very firmly in the side of choice, and they don't want the choice. They want you to. They agree with the pharmaceutical boss.
Oh, you're getting into hot topics now, my friend.
I'm getting on my soapbox, Kyle. No. I'm just so confused. Why are they two movies?
And it's annoying too because we both said it for the previous two movies. The Jean Grey Logan romance is bad, and this movie just doubles, triples down on it.
Yeah, it's like we're going all in.
We're getting Scott out of the way quickly, so he's not a problem anymore.
It's not a problem.
And now it's Jean Logan all the time.
Jean Logan, they're exclusive, baby. I think, you know what, growing up, even because obviously you don't understand romance plots when you're a child in movies, I always assumed because of this film that it was kind of the two of them and Scott was the ass. Because I liked Wolverine. I was like, go away, Specky. I want Jean and Wolverine to be together because Wolverine's my best friend.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and then you grow up and you watch these movies and you're like, no, Wolverine, leave them alone.
I mean, this movie leads even more into Jean Grey just full on tries to fuck him in the room. So, you know.
And the medical bay.
Yeah.
Oh,
Which is uncomfortable.
Yeah, well, it does set up, however, that Logan is immune to the life-sucking powers.
Yeah, I guess, but like, Logan, use a bit of logic for goodness sake. This is clearly, she's not in her right mind right now.
He's just a sleazebag.
Yeah, men are pigs. That's the moral of this movie,
That's
Nathan.
the moral of the movie, Kyle. Yeah, you're right.
Rogue says it early on to Bobby, and it just continues to become true.
Well, Bobby doesn't do himself any favours. After the death of Xavier, Kyle, they go, they're all depressed, they're all sad, and Storm says, everyone go to your rooms, stay there. And Bobby goes to see Kitty Pryde and is like, let's go, it'll make you feel better. Turns the fountain of water and pond into a ice skating rink, and they wonderfully they hold hands and they're ice skating, and he
Yeah,
makes
they
his own
have
ice
a
skates.
romantic ice skating thing. Yeah.
Yes, as would be the language of filmmaking. But you're with Rogue. Like, I get you just want to do a nice thing for your friend, right? She's upset.
Here's how you fix this. You involve Rogue in this situation as well.
Yeah, exactly, right? And instead of Rogue like being like the woman in black standing up at the window, just looking down, hating what she's seeing. Mm-hmm. To be fair, he's never unfaithful. The film is PG.
No, and it never really paints that he has the intention of being either.
No, but the film likes to hang that tension there.
Yeah, it's fake drama, which is annoying.
Yeah,
it's one of the situations in a movie where if everyone just sat down and had an adult conversation, there would be no conflict.
Yeah, because they're kids, Kale. They're damn whippersnappers.
They're barely kids anymore at this point. They were kids in the first movie.
Yeah, you're right.
They're what, like 18 or 19 at this point, at least.
Too young to be conducted into an army for the school. What's this, Harry Potter?
I mean, there are similarities, that's for sure. Where are we? Oh, the house. We've talked about Xavier dying, but I think the actual house scene with Jean's powers going wild is pretty good.
Yeah, well, they both go and see her, and Charles and Magneto's like, no one, because I have Vinnie Jones with me now, make sure no one gets through. Mm-hmm. And they go in and speak. Charles and Magneto go and speak alone. I don't know why. Like, Magneto could have just said, Charles, you're not coming in either. I'm going in myself. What are you going to do?
I guess because he respects Charles. I don't know.
Yeah, right, probably. Also because he knows that Charles could just control Juggernaut and end this quite quickly. But yeah, so they go in and they're having a chat, but Magneto's, been like, he's trying to hold you back, Jean. I will embrace your powers. I love you the way you are. You don't need to change. Mm-hmm. You're perfect. Yes. And Charles
and Xavier's like, if I don't control you all, you're going to blow up everyone with your mind, which I think is a pretty reasonable stance, actually.
I think, I have my notes here, I think that people treat Charles with way too much animosity for this decision to suppress some of Jean's natural powers. He's not denying the mutant nature, he's just saying, you're a bit volatile and we need to dampen you a little bit, actually. because you're dangerous.
Yeah, because it turns out that if I don't, you turn into a psychopath.
Yeah, you'll just kill everyone. You're Michael Myers. You're the Antichrist.
He has a line where I made the best of two difficult situations or something, right?
Yeah, he had like two bad choices ahead of him.
Two bad choices. Basically, his choice was I can suppress her or I can kill her, and he chose to suppress her.
Yeah, like neither choice is good, but one must have been done. And you Logan, to lecture me. Shut up, Logan. I done everything for you. Like, I think that he gets way too angry about it, but also they're getting way too angry at him about it. Like, everyone should just go, oh no, actually you make a very good point, Xavier. Thank you for this. Thank you.
At least after her powers are revealed, Logan should have gone back and say, actually, I'm sorry, Professor, you were right.
I mean, after he gets blown to smithereens, they do seem somewhat contemplative of it, you know?
Yeah, I guess.
But yeah, so the house is getting like picked up and everyone's, Wolverine's have to stab his way across the ceiling to just move. Magneto's stuck on the floor next to the washing machine.
Mm-hmm. The water, the sink, and the water in the sink is going to the ceiling.
Yep, everything's just been completely flipped, turned upside down, and Storm is like, no, we're going in. So Storm and Logan, they run to the house, and then that's where he's stabbing his way through, and I think Storm's just outside fighting with people in the garden.
I think, yeah, she has like a rivalry, I guess, with the fast lady.
Yep.
But no, it's a good scene.
Yeah,
I like it.
I quite enjoy the scream that Magneto gives out to say Charles when he explodes. It's like a really good emotional moment. I was like, oh, they do care for each other.
Mm-hmm. And even though they're old rivals, that friendship endures, you know?
Yeah. Good stuff.
Complex emotions.
This is the only good Dark Phoenix bit in the movie.
I agree.
Only good Dark Phoenix bit in the movie, yeah.
Because
good
even after this, like, to combine this, Jean joins up with the Brotherhood of Mutants.
Yep.
And not really for a good reason, just because Magneto asks her to.
Oh, yeah, because she's just like, I guess I'll come with you guys. Charles was going to suppress me and you're going to embrace me. But you don't need these people to embrace you. You could just chill by yourself.
You could just become God, basically.
Yeah, just become God in this little family home of yours. I hope your parents aren't still alive. Is this just Jean Grey's private domicile?
I assume those parents got murdered off screen.
But yeah, so, I mean, at this point here, though, so we go to the woods and Wolverine is tearing through people in the woods because he's hunting down Jean, because Jean is leaving trace memories or whatever, and to say, here's where I am, you can come find me. And when they're standing in the woods, Magneto's giving a speech to all of his goons on the floor, and all the main characters are standing up on top with him, with Magneto, and, you see Pyro and
Speed Lady.
Spike Man.
Spike Man, my favourite.
Yeah, Spike Man.
Do you know Spike Man is played by the guy Karnak
from Inhumans? Yeah, I do, yeah. I think he has a similar tattoo on his face, doesn't he?
He does, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, in this one he has a chin tattoo, and then in Inhumans he has eye tattoos.
Ah, right, okay. And Dark Phoenix are all up there. Magneto was threatened by Jean because Jean picks up the cure darts and it's like, I can just stab you with this and it's all over. And I actually think, now, the film wants an action scene, so they can't do it to Magneto yet. But from a plot perspective,
there's no reason she wouldn't.
There's no reason she wouldn't. Like, she now is on side. She's decided that she quite likes this army. They're all just going to follow her. Like, what, what are they going to do? Saying, oh, we were here for the kill.
That's another option where they could have combined the two plot lines and just didn't.
Yeah, and just didn't, right? They were like, no. Because we need Magneto to lift up the Golden Gate Bridge, though Jean could have done it. And then to say, Charles always wanted to build bridges, didn't he?
Yeah, well, you didn't build a bridge, you moved a bridge. But sure.
You moved bridge, you sarky motherfucker. And there's, you get the funny comedy bit, Kyle, of everyone lock your doors, because there's an army of men outside.
Uh-huh.
Like, that's going to make a difference.
Don't worry, kids. Just keep playing Crash Bandicoot in the back seat.
Yeah, because we're trying to get to the Golden. The reason we're picking up the Golden Gate Bridge, Kyle should have mentioned, the pharmaceutical company are using Alcatraz as the place.
they set up their lab on Alcatraz, which seems very inconvenient, if you ask me.
All about themes, Kyle.
It's all about themes, but if you're making chemicals, you want easy access to that facility, I would think.
Or maybe you'd also want isolation in case something goes wrong.
Maybe so.
Not like Alcatraz has happy associations.
No, not at all. No,
Not at all. But
it's famously
isolated
a prison. Yeah.
Isolated island. So we're,
I don't know the geography enough, but I don't think the Golden Gate Bridge would stretch all the way from the mainland to Alcatraz.
No, we're bending it with metal.
Yeah.
We're using molecular funny numbers. Kale, it's
Look, your funny numbers. We're using PEM particles.
We're
Yeah.
using PEM particles. We're stretching because he can stretch metal, Kyle, because he's Magneto and metal.
You can't stretch concrete though.
No, but shut up. Jean can. She can stretch concrete.
Okay, sure. Jean helps.
Yeah,
Got
Jean
you.
helps. Jean helps. So we moved the bridge, and the whole army's on this bridge. Imagine you were late for the bridge moving. God, that's embarrassing. It's like, well, I'm not participating in the rise up. Yeah, the X-Men get there via stealth jet, but the army have learned, Kyle. They're now using plastic guns. Now,
Yes.
they learned in X2 when Magneto was in prison.
Yeah, they had plastic guns there as well. Yeah.
But I quite like there's like a roll call bit with like a drill sergeant. He's like, everyone hand in your guns. We don't need your guns anymore. They're plastic. All metal.
Absolutely.
Get it off
All
you."
metal. Yeah.
And like
That's
the
when
members-
they have my favourite line from the president, which is get troops armed with cure weapons on Alcatraz Island immediately. And it's like at that point, maybe you have to realise that you're not the good guy when you're arming your troops with cure weapons.
Well, I mean, like I say, I do think a weapon to neutralise mutant threat when they are the ones on the offence, probably not unwarranted. Like, I would like a weapon that could stop Magneto. Like, what am I going to do? Shoot with a plastic bullet? Like, cure gun probably fine. I'm pretty on board with it in very strict situation. Like, this is a perfect situation. You don't want a metal as AR-15 in this situation, do you?
It's a slippery slope, Nathan.
It's slippery slope, Kyle. I agree. You know, where's the line to be drawn? This is the good stuff of this movie, though, Kyle, because it brings up these questions that the film would explore. But no, the Antichrist is on the bridge as well. Oh. So yeah, they've learned, Kyle. They've learned.
Well, Magneto, their goal on this island is they want to murder a child, so, that's not great.
They do want to murder his child, yeah. I thought these were...
I have a question.
Yeah, go.
Would the cure work on the cure child?
Oh, interesting. That's like what came first, the chicken or the egg.
Because this is something that no one even considers because they don't really explore this kid much, even though they're like the MacGuffin of the movie. They're only in like 2 or 3 scenes.
Yep. It's just whatever. It's just it's sentient entity that stops powers. That's the
Yeah.
beginning, middle, and end of it.
But it seems like from what they see, this kid is kind of imprisoned in this single room, and they see there's a shot of, I don't even know if it's a boy or girl, so
I think
whatever.
it's a boy.
I think, okay. He's looking at the window and he sees Angel flying past, and that's a metaphor that they want freedom. They're a caged bird and they want to be free,
Yeah. Yeah.
And the solution to that is this kid takes the cure and then they can live a normal life. But that doesn't happen. And after Kitty Pryde rescues him, he never shows up again.
Nope. Nope. No more. He's just like, that's me. I'm out of the movie now. I'm going to go to the X Mansion, I guess, and be taught about. What?
And how's that going to work?
Would he be like just like a neutralizer power? He'd be like Rogue, but instead of draining people's powers, he'd just be stopping them.
Yeah, what's the radius on that? I guess Beast has to get pretty close to him to neutralize the powers, because he's standing in the same room. Yeah.
And how are you getting the cure from him? Like, is it in the blood? They were like, we can, what was it? We can generate it, but we can't replicate it. What does that mean?
I don't know.
It's like we can synthesize the cure from him, but without him, it's nothing.
Yeah, the story would be changed not at all if it was just some sort of magic mineral. It doesn't matter at all that it's a boy.
Yeah, absolutely. It's to get everyone sympathise, because the Magneto's just like, we killed the kid, and it's like, no, we don't need to kill the kid.
It's another good Juggernaut moment, though, because Magneto's like, you have to go check out that child, and Juggernaut's like, with pleasure. Not the right answer, Juggernaut. Being asked to murder a child, not the right answer.
He's on board with child murder.
You should be more solemn about that task.
There's a reason he's in jail in Deadpool 2.
There's a reason he's in jail in this movie.
Yeah, yes, multiple child murder, presumably. He couldn't slow down, he ran through an elementary school.
You know what I do enjoy about Magneto's Brotherhood in this movie is every so often they just throw in a guy with random powers, like the guy who keeps regenerating his arms. That's fun.
Yeah, you get like a bunch of just nothing mutants, like one that can just stick to any surface, and then the odd one that's like, oh no, you you fun quirk.
Yeah, that's fun. That's the fun thing about mutants, is they can be weird.
Yeah, you know what else can be fun? The U.S. military. And all their...
Oh, please elaborate.
Well, they have so many fun, quirky cure weapons, don't they? So it's not just cure assault rifles, Kyle. They have cure rocket launchers.
They've got cure pistols, they've got cure assault rifles, they've got cure rocket launchers. They really went all in on this concept.
They've got cure drones or something. Like there's like one that spins and just shoots the...
Yes, I remember this, yes.
That's a lot. See if those darts just fall into the ground. Are those needles going to be picked up and stabbed in again, or are you just injecting cure into the ground?
It's like a gun from Sunset Overdrive or something.
Yeah, it's like an exotic in Destiny. Like, I don't know what it's... What happens if it hits a human?
Nothing, I assume.
Homo sapien.
It's weird that they use that as an insult, because I don't think we've ever established the Homo superior thing in these movies.
No, they haven't, no.
So they're talking like they're not Homo sapiens, even though the movie's never established that.
The film does a lot of assuming that there's been like a film between this and X2, I think.
Yeah, also, when Wolverine is running through the woods to their camp, I had two questions. One, why are they attacking him? He could be coming to join. They don't know he's here to try and rescue Jean. He could be coming to join the cause.
Maybe Wolverine, Magneto was like, there's going to be an Australian man showing up. Don't let him in.
Right, okay. Make sure you're on it, throwing bone man.
Make sure you're on it in Humans cast.
So that was one. Second, in that scene, Magneto throws Wolverine through the woods for like 100 miles, because of course he does. He can do that.
It's funny.
Why doesn't he do that on Alcatraz?
I'm sending you into the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. Because you could probably drown Wolverine, right? Or would he be stuck? He could probably drown. Would he be stuck at the bottom of the ocean constantly?
That's an interesting question. Does Logan need to breathe?
Well, they talk about decapitating him at one point, and I think X-Men Origins Wolverine, and that must be a way to kill him, right? Does he grow a head, or does his head regrow a body? Is he replicating?
The Deadpool can regrow a body. I don't know if Wolverine can.
Why not?
I don't know, because it's silly. It's a silly power to do that.
Deadpool
can have silly powers, but Logan can't.
Okay, right. So when he's dead, he's dead. So he needs to cut the head off.
But at any point in that final conflict, Magneto could just get rid of both Wolverine and Colossus, because I assume Colossus is also made of metal.
Yes, I like Magneto was like, I could smell your adamantium anyway.
Yeah, exactly. So just get rid of them.
Yeah, get rid of them.
But he doesn't do that because
he's standing too far away on that bridge, Kyle.
I don't think he is.
He's like, send in the pawns first.
He does say that, yes.
He's like, you go deal with the Icemen. You can have some fun now.
We do get a Bobby John. Is that his name?
Yeah, Bobby John.
Yeah. They have their conflict.
A song of ice and fire, if you will.
A song, yeah. It's very... You said Harry Potter before. It's very Expelliarmus.
Yes,
two beams clashing.
Yeah, yeah. Big beam fight. We love beam fights.
Yes, but he ends it by going full Iceman, which is cool.
Yeah,
and he should have been doing that since the first movie.
I don't mind seeing it. This feels like growthier. I'm fine with it actually seeing him earning the moment, I think this moment's earned.
Fair enough.
But I like that he doesn't kill him. All he does is grab his wrists and just short out his ability to produce fire. And he's you should have stayed in school. And then he's like, you never should have left.
Yeah, as they established in the last movie, he can't make fire, he can just control fire.
Yeah.
So in this movie, he has a little hidden blade, except it releases fire thing on his wrist.
Yeah, like a lighter on his wrist. See, I had never noticed that before. I thought he was just capable of generating fire now. But yeah, no, it's just like a fire lighter he's got on his wrist.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and somehow 1-inch Spike Man isn't a pawn. He counts as one of the inner circle for some reason.
Yeah, he's part of it because he's an actor. He's not an extra.
I guess that's it. I just don't see how this guy qualifies, because he does kill someone in this movie. He kills that lady who's in everything. I'm not going to try and pronounce her name. You know who I'm talking about.
Yeah, she's the science lady in this movie.
She has the husky voice and the accent. You know her.
She does video game voice acting, I think, doesn't she?
She does video game voice acting. She was in a Star Trek.
Yeah, she was in a Star Trek. She was in Star Trek Beyond. She was Commodore Paris.
Yeah, she's in everything.
Yeah, she's that guy, old lady.
Yeah, but she gets killed by that guy because he hugs her, and that's the only way he could possibly kill someone with his powers.
Yep, headbutting, probably. Imagine he headbutted her.
That would have been graphic.
Oh, yeah, it would have been. So the hug probably is a little bit more made for families. The hug of death, Kyle. Unlike the kiss of death that these movies are usually played by.
Yeah, no, this is our third kiss of death in the series so far.
Oh, we're fair cutting through the deaths, aren't we, here?
Yep.
Something we forgot to mention, Kyle, is Xavier earlier in the movie has like a class that he's teaching, and he shows his colleague Moira McTaggart, who does an awful Scottish accent in this movie.
Is that what she was trying to do? I thought it was Russian or something.
Yeah, right, it's pretty bad. We'll see more Moira McTaggart in our prequel films, but it's obviously a different actor. And makes no attempt to be Scottish.
Yeah, it's the laziest step ever. They're like, here is this body, he has no soul, but if we transferred a soul into him, would that be a moral quandary thing to do?
Would
this
this
isn't
be a
set
Star
up for
Trek
later in the
segment?
movie.
Yeah. And then its payoff is, well, we'll get there, I suppose. But
I
in this
appreciate
fight,
in that scene though, in that class, the kid who can blink and turn the TV on and off is in there, and he's Xavier's like, "Hey kid, can you turn the TV on for me?" And he blinks and turns the TV on.
Dance monkey, yeah.
That's a class 5 mutant right there. He
That's
can turn
a class.
TVs on.
Yeah, I think he could probably just like interrupt electrical circuits. I actually think
Okay.
he's potential to be quite powerful.
There's also a kid in there who can write without using a pen. That's advanced stuff.
That is advanced stuff. What is that power in practical application when you consider that writing is just a human invention?
Yeah, you can generate ink on surfaces, I guess.
Oh, great. Heavens be gone.
Look, that's the thing with
You must be
mutants.
really
They're not all
crap
gonna,
on computers in the age of no paper.
Yeah, they're not all going to be heroes, you know. Some mutant powers are just going to be boring.
Yeah, this is becoming the boys' territory really quickly, where like people go to like superhero university and they're like, "You're going to be a hero. You're going to be an influencer."
It says sky high.
Yeah, it's a bit, yeah, kind of sky high-ish, I suppose. Yeah, you're a late bloomer.
You're a hero. You're a sidekick. Yeah, you can turn into a gerbil. Good stuff.
So in this fight, Kyle, it's now time for Magneto to be cured.
Yes.
Bye, Ian McKellen's Magneto. You will be stabbed in because they do the thing from the Danger Room. Colossus throws Wolverine with his claws out, and he's going, "Rah!" And of course, Magneto's just like, "What are you talking about? I'm going to put you in the ground, right?" And he's like, "Oh, silly Logan Wolverine, you'll never learn." And he's like, "Oh, but I did learn." And then through the mist, because Storm brings the fog in from the bay, it's Kelsey Grammer, it's Sideshow Bob. He goes, "What?" And he jumps on Magneto's back and he stabs him in the chest.
Stabs will take 4,
subversion.
which is a bit unnecessary, but you know.
All the cartridges came in sets of 4, you know? You gotta be sure
Okay.
it sticks. And he's a class 5 mutant, you're not taking any chances. And he falls to the ground and he suddenly becomes really weak and scared. And then after that, when everyone's running away because Jean's going sicko mode, he's like, "Oh, what have I done?" Like, why are you suddenly regretting all this now? Why now is this hitting you?
To be fair, I think he started to regret it when she threatened him in the woods. I think at that point he's like, "Oh, maybe I fucked up here a little bit."
He still took her to the Golden Gate Bridge.
Well, yeah, once you've got her, you're not going to not use her, but yeah.
Maybe, but he was fine with it. And then he was like, "Oh,
Again,
what have I done?"
Jean Grey going crazy doesn't really have anything to do with the cure or whatever. It just happens.
Yeah, but Magneto was like, "Oh, this has been an awful decision. I'm regretting my choices."
Yeah, and he runs away.
Yeah, he runs away over the bridge with the US military. No one arrests him. He's just let to go be a Pixar short.
Yes, it does become a Pixar short.
Like chess by
But
himself.
It's thematic, see, because his chess partner is gone, because Charles was his chess partner.
Oh, you're so right, Kel. I never thought about that. God. But that's kind of us near the end, isn't it?
Yeah, we already talked about Logan stabbing Jean Grey. It's bad. It's not for
Yeah,
us.
it's bad. And then we go back to the school. Cyclops got a gravestone, finally. Charles got
Finally,
one.
yes.
And
They have a big funeral for Professor X, but they don't bury, or they can't bury Cyclops because there's no body. I guess they can bury his Oakleys.
there's no body for Xavier either.
That's true. Yeah,
They're both
that's a
atomatic.
great
It's just
point.
it's just headstones in a wheelchair.
Do you think they... No, they didn't bury the wheelchair because it sat in his office.
Yeah, they buried Xavier's wheelchair and they buried Scott's like visor. He didn't bring it with him.
Yeah.
All that was left of him was his sunglasses floating, funnily enough.
It was a kill shot, though, to be fair.
It was a cool shot, to be fair. So that's it. Everyone's, the school will go on. The children return to Hogwarts and Storm's there to welcome them all back, and Hank has been made UN ambassador.
Rogue got the cure off screen.
Rogue, there was a whole lot of things. That's why Rogue left. She took all of her shit with her, and for some reason she had to take all the shit with her to go the cure. And she gets bussed in. They have to bus people in, Kyle. It's all very politically relevant, right?
It does give real COVID flashbacks, doesn't it?
And
they're all lining up for the vaccine.
Yeah, they're all
I remember those days.
All lining up, and she gets it. She goes back, and Bobby's like, I never wanted any of this, and she's like, I know, but I did, and they touch hands, and it's all fine. There was never any tension with Kitty Pryde. That's just resolved now. That's just fine.
Kitty Pryde disappears along with that kid.
Yeah, because now she can touch her boyfriend. Everything's fine. That was the arc she was on, I guess.
Yeah, no, there was a good scene with her and Logan, though, where Logan's like, you better not be doing this just for a boy.
Yeah, she's like...
Yeah, that's good.
And she's like, should you not be convincing me to stay? And he's like, I'm not your father. I'm your friend. Do what you like, as long as it's what you want. It is a good bit. But you know what makes it good? It's to do with the cure plot.
Yes. Because Rogue is our main perspective on mutants who want the cure.
Yeah.
And ideally, in a movie without all the Phoenix stuff, that would be explored even more.
It would be. This movie feels a lot longer than it is.
It feels like it should be a lot longer than it is.
Yeah, but I think it also just feels really long as well, because I feel like I'm getting interruptions in my watching of the Cure film.
Mm-hmm.
Which is weird, because I think when I was younger, the Dark Phoenix storyline probably appealed to me more.
The Dark Phoenix stuff is more flashy. As when you're a kid, that's your action figure stuff, right? It's she's wearing this big red costume and doing lots of crazy power stuff. But intellectually, as an adult, the Cure stuff is way more interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you. 100% right there. But that's it.
Well, we do have a post-credit scene.
We do, with Moira McTaggart. You tell us it, Kel.
Well, she's looking at this guy who we introduced 2 hours ago as being this guy who in the hospital bed, and he wakes up and he says, Moira, and it's Patrick Stewart, and he's alive! Isn't that exciting? Isn't that exciting, Nathan?
I clapped, I fist pumped the air, I jumped out of my bed for joy. Apparently, in some sort of associate comic or whatever, this is supposed to be Xavier's brother.
Yes, I'm aware.
What the hell is that? What the hell is even that? Of course it's not. Is that why he looks like Patrick Stewart? Did he get facial work done? He was also a bald man?
I guess so. Because
so.
in the comics, Xavier does have a twin sister. Not a twin brother, though.
I think we're going to be seeing a Deadpool and Wolverine. Yeah,
she's the villain of Deadpool and Wolverine, apparently. Or at least one of whatever's going on in that movie. She's going to be working with Elektra.
I'm very excited.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
But yeah, that's it. We've done the first X-Men trilogy, Kyle. What are we looking at next week?
Yeah, well, next week we're taking one more adventure away from the X-Men universe because we're doing Fantastic Four: Rise of the Silver Surfer.
You know what? I'm looking forward to Rise of the Silver Surfer. I was in London last week, Kyle. I went in the London Eye for the first time in my life, and oh my god, I was thinking about this movie a lot.
Oh yeah, there's a scene where they're on the London Eye. Yeah,
it did occur to me. I was thinking about the show, yeah. Good fun. Absolutely good fun. I'm looking forward to talking about that with you, Kyle. Kyle, where can we find you online, though, when people are not listening to this show?
People can, of course, find me online when they're not listening to this show at Kyle the Scot on YouTube, where I do video essays and game critiques. I'm working on the Assassin's Creed series right now, and that's going to be fun. Nathan, where can people find you?
People can find me online, as always, on all good social media platforms, not at least of being Twitter and Threads, Instagram, Mastodon, Blue Sky. I always forget Blue Sky, and I really shouldn't. Blue Sky, I think, needs some love. But yeah, you'll find me about. I'm always there. You'll also find me in Kel's comic book section, in Kel's comments section, as always.
In my private comic books that I make just for you.
He writes me little stories and sends me them once a week. I love reading them. I'm like the Stan Lee cameo of Kyle's comics.
Absolutely. And for more cameos from us, you can, of course, check out our entire backlog of podcasts where we've been through all of the Snyderverse.
Great plug. Absolutely. We've done through all the Snyderverse DCEU movies and a couple of bits more. But yeah, so thank you everyone so much for listening. And you can hear us next week discuss Fantastic Four: The Rise of the Silver Surfer.